Originality. My first introduction to the Dare was via multiple friends independently telling me that he reminded them of me. I then watched the music video for Perfume, and I decided that this guy was pretty good. I Destroyed Disco, Elevation, the aforementioned Perfume are all certified bops. It was all going so smoothly until the internet intervened and told me he is just a bootleg LCD sound system, a derivative, soulless, knockoff poser. So, do I believe that the allegations are true? Is my first celebrity lookalike secretly the Autobots to LCD Sound System's cars? No, he's not, even if the nickname SDE Sound System is very funny. Now, it's easy to see where the knockoff allegations came from. You have a man in a suit and a skinny tie singing about parties. LCD Sound System has a song called Drunk Girls, and the Dare has a song called Girls, and I'm assuming at some point that Daft Punk was playing at the Dare's house, even if it was just off of Spotify. But there are several problems with this line of thinking. First, the messaging of LCD Sound System and the messaging of the Dare are polar opposites, with the former being a condemnation of party culture, and the latter being a celebration of it. I feel like you're selling both acts short by spreading these kinds of rumors, with the comparison undercutting some of the more somber notes of LCD Sound System and completely ignoring the fun simplicity of the Dare. Second, it is ignoring that their songs are structured completely differently. The Dare's songs are quick party hits, while LCD Sound System is more drawn out, with songs taking their time to transition between their parts. Third, whenever this debate is brought up, you have a bunch of people going, oh yeah, the Dare's also ripping off of this band, and this band, and this band, and this band, and this band. And you can think that any of these comments are true, but at a certain point, he's ripping off so many different sources that it just kind of sounds like he's an artist early in his career trying to define his own voice, which, yeah. Fourth, this is pretending like there are not very obvious parallels between LCD Sound System and previous acts, which is simply a silly thing to say. You can like him or not, I don't control you, but there is merit to the Dare, and a distinct merit at that. But this got me thinking about what originality actually is, because it's been my experience that nothing is truly original. That is to say, no idea exists in a vacuum. Everyone likes to make fun of all the Get Out and Midsummer style movies coming out nowadays, but that's acting like Get Out and Midsummer aren't ripping off of The Stepford Wives. No, not the one from 2004, the one from 1975, which is based off a book from 1972, which wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the invention of the printing press in the 1440s. That is not to disparage anything listed, especially the printing press. And I'll even go to bat for some of the newer releases that people like to make fun of, as the problem stems from a current oversaturation rather than each individual film. It is also not to say that a movie like Get Out is not original or not good, because that's not true. But what separates something like this from something like this? In moments of weakness, I have found myself watching compilations of Amy Schumer stealing jokes. I say weakness not because I think Amy Schumer is some secret saint. I kind of consider her to be a garbage person, and an unfunny one at that. But a lot of the discourse around her quickly bleeds into wingnuts using her as a way to say that women aren't funny in general, which they should go watch Drop Dead Gorgeous or a Tig Notaro stand-up special and then come back to me and apologize for their ignorance. But there's something that I find fascinating about these compilations. There are many jokes that are very clear examples of joke stealing, but then there are more general jokes that are just kind of goofily worded observations, where if they were divorced from the rest of Amy Schumer's notoriety, I could see two people coming up with them independently. Where is the line? I could sit here like a crazy person and say that Kendrick Lamar stole his famous A minor line from a Bo Burnham comedy special.
Thank you, that's called beating off an A minor.
Does this mean that Bo Burnham is a better rapper than Kendrick Lamar? I don't know, the jury's still out. I haven't even touched video games, where two of the biggest genres are literally just, yeah, this game is kind of like this game. What is an homage and what is just copied homework? In a world where there is countless art, media, discourse, content, mobile game ads, how do you make something original? Let's take a look at a recent critically acclaimed film, One Battle After Another, a film that I and many others consider to be one of, if not the best movie of the decade so far. A film that I would say, to use some very unoriginal language, is a breath of fresh air in the current cinematic landscape. Now, if we boil the premise way down to its base elements, One Battle After Another is a movie about a washed-up fighter being roped into one last mission in order to protect what he cares about most, aka the plot of every action movie ever made. They even compare what the main character is about to do at one point to Tom Cruise within the movie. But what separates One Battle After Another from something like Invasion USA? Besides the gulf in filmmaking talent? Well, in Invasion USA, if you've seen any movie before in your life, you will know exactly what's gonna happen next at any given moment, because the originality of the film's artistic voice has been traded in for relying purely on storytelling tropes. Whereas in One Battle After Another, some crazy stuff happens. I'm not gonna get into details because you should just go see the movie for yourself, but it is a ride and a half. Despite having clear ties to current issues and being this big action adventure with crazy set pieces and car chases, it also feels like a deeply personal film about aging and being a dad. It comes from someone with a voice that tends to be lacking in big budget movies, and that, combined with accomplished filmmaking, is what makes it stand out. We are living in a postmodern world where everything is a reference to something before it. There is no escaping it, so the challenge falls upon the artist to use those building blocks in a unique way to articulate their voice skillfully. The greats that inspired your favorite artist have been doing it for centuries. We're just more aware of it now, because ultimately our unique voice and our unique experiences are what sets us apart. Thank you for watching.
I said certified freak 7 days a week. Wet ass P-word. Make that pull-out game weak. P-word. P-word is female genitalia. It continues along these lines. Yeah, you effin' with some wet ass P-word. Bring a bucket and a mop.